In the face of darkness, I stand.
In the old days, love was pure and true. Now it's just a show for all to view. People use it for their own gain, leaving hearts in sorrow and pain. Once a sacred bond, now just a game. Hearts are broken, never quite the same. Love used to be a beacon bright, now it's lost in the shadows of the night. Oh, how we long for those days of yore, when love was honest forevermore. But now it's twisted, tainted and cruel, leaving us drowning in an endless pool. What can we do? In the spiritual world, all seems bright, but shadows lurk in the dead of night. Half of humanity wears a wicked guise, evil deeds hidden behind virtuous eyes. Beneath the surface, a darkness lies, massive deceit veiling their lies. In this realm where good and evil collide, the line between them is blurred, hard to decide. So tread carefully in this world so grand, for not all that glitters is gold in the sand. In the spiritual realm where illusions endure, evil and good dance in eternal obscure. Just imagine that. Karma doesn't ask you how you want it. It just comes and take it. So be careful how you treat others on your way up the ladder, cause your way down, trust me. In a world of empty stares, fake love fills the air. Sincerity's distant glare, leaving hearts in deep despair. Truth is lost in a web of lies, hiding behind deceitful eyes. Love that fades and slowly dies, leaving us with heavy sighs. Aching souls in a loveless land, yearning for a genuine hand, but fake love rules with cruel demand, leaving us to understand. In this age of like and retweets, we've forgotten what real love truly means. It's not just about show and tell, but a feeling that makes our hearts swell. It's hard to know who's true and who's fake in a world where appearances are hard to shake. But real love is deeper than a profile pic. It's in the way that someone makes your soul click. So let's not get lost in the digital haze. Let's remember what real love truly conveys. It's not about followers or online fame, but a connection that sets our hearts aflame. In this world of make-believe, they all wear a smile, but behind the scenes, it's just a clever guys, puppets in their show, dancing in their stage. We're all just pieces of their charade. Beneath their mask of joy lies the tangled web, where secrets and deceits are carefully bred. Their lovey-dovey act is just for display. We're all caught up in their twisted play. So let's break free from this illusion so grand, and see through the facade with hearts unplanned. No longer pawns in their game of charade. Let's find our own path and not be swayed. I feel like I'm surrounded with people with strings attached to their back, waiting for their master's command. It's like when I was little, right, and I was reading Pinocchio. Every time that he told a lie, his nose grew. It's just that, in real life, their noses don't grow. Karma just catches. In the shadows we seek, a love so pure and meek, but all that's left is a ghostly echo, a memory bleak, longing for a bond that's true in this world so cold and weak, yearning for the love we knew before the all turned antique, lost in illusions of affection, bleeding like the mist, hollow hearts yearn for connection in a realm dismissed, seeking solace in echoes of the past where love truly exists, but all we find are mere reflections of what love once kissed. Amidst the ruins of our hearts, we search for something real, yet all we grasp are faded echoes of what used to appeal in this world where love has become just a commodity to steal. It's just a little food for thought. Hey, what up, everybody? I hope all of y'all is having a blessed and humble day. Continue to have a blessed and humble morning. This y'all shorty Racheal. I want to welcome all of y'all to the Writers for Life Brings You Let's Talk About It podcast, man. Today, let's talk about it. It's an open conversation, right? Let's talk about life, news, and more. I'm trying to see how I start this panel, right? And I'm thinking I might start it off with, speaking on family, right? Life experiences and stuff like that, right? It's so much going on around us, right? And then I'm also how can I say, touch a little bit on the Haley Bailey, the DDG situation. We're gonna touch a little bit on the Cassie situation and P. Diddy situation, right? It's an open, these are open conversations, open panels. Link is in the chat down below. It is also in the community wall for those of y'all that cannot hit the link in the chat. So, hey, like I said, it's open. Y'all can, come up, start a conversation, bring up topic. You see where I'm coming from? I'm not gonna be here like 4, 5, 6 hours, right? I'm gonna be here for a little bit. And like I said, we're gonna start off this conversation right on family, right? What defines a family, right? Blood relations, chosen connections, or something else entirely. And to me, right, when it comes to family, I don't get tired of telling people, right? To me, family is not who you're born into, right? But what you make of it. To me, my family is the family that I have created, right? The children that I have birthed, the people that are around me, the support system that I have, right? Yes. Do I have brothers and sisters? Yes, I do. You see where I'm coming from? Do I have aunts and uncles? Yes, I do, but I don't know them, right? I don't have a connection with my, how can I say, with my parents' family, right? Like, I'm just starting to know my father's side of the family, right? But we don't communicate every day, right? My mom's side of the family, I don't really communicate. I don't know them. I can honestly sit here and say I don't know them. I know, I talked to like a few cousins here and there, right? But growing up, it was just me and my mom, right? And even though I have a dark past, for those of y'all that don't know about Shorty's past, you know, my life is here, right? I've talked about it. And Shorty is a survivor. Um, we all go through a lot, right? We all fight our own demons, right? In the same hell, just in our own way, different ways. Right? Listen, my way of fighting life, my way of battling my fights, right? My way of overcoming those obstacles. It's not your way, right? Because what you eat don't make me shit. So, there's so many things, right? Like for me, familiar, right? When you go and you will go to Google and you look up the terminology, right, of family, what does it tell you? Right? And I'm about to read it to y'all, right? And the reason why we're bringing this up, because in a way I want this to be part two, right? In a way I want this to be part two of, is social media beneficial or harmful? Right. And if y'all go check my last live out, right, we hit on so many controversial topics, right? The last live and the live before that, right? We hit so many controversial topics, right? And I think the last topic that we was hitting on the last live was, is social media beneficial or is it harmful, right? And I was telling y'all that for me that, social media has its pros and it has its cons, right? And for me personally, I feel as though, right, when it comes to keeping your family safe from these social media platforms, you as a parent have to be, how can I say, you have to be like, listen, you have to be like a detective, a cop, an officer with your child. Like you have to sit here and be like a security guard, right? You have to be on top of everything that they do. You see where I'm coming from? Like, it's up to you as a parent if we let our kids, right, sit here and constantly listen to what they're listening to, right? We can't help what other families listen to in their houses, right? But we can sit here and prevent, like, this is not allowed here, so that your child can start getting the understanding of, okay, what I'm seeing out there isn't the right thing, but my mom is trying to, or my dad is trying to guide me into the right path, right? But family, right? What is the terminology of a family, right? The definition of a family is a group of two or more persons related by birth, right, marriage, or adoption who live together. All such related persons are considered as members of one family. But in reality, right, the proper word to call somebody, right, that you're born into, right, is a relative, right? Somebody, we have our lineages, right? Relatives, family, you can create it, right? You go back all the way back. I'm not sure if it's the terminology or it's another word for I keep forgetting it. Not be searching and researching this, man. All right, don't knock me down for that, right? But the terminology, right, means lineal relatives have highly descriptive terms. Collateral relatives have highly classificatory terms. Thus, siblings are distinguished from cousins. While all types of cousins are grouped together, the system of English language kinship terms fall into the Eskimo type, right? What is a simple definition for family? I already read y'all that. Why is it not giving me the terminology? We just did this, and it's crazy because we was on Words Live. Shout out to the Word. Not so long ago, right? I could say it's been like a couple months, but it still wasn't that. It hasn't been a year yet. Shit. And we was able to look up the terminology of family and all that, and it's not coming up, right? How it was used in the slave days, right? Because basically, family was right. What basically, the group of people that the masters treated good within the household, right? That was working for the masters, right? Maids, servants, and stuff like that. And it is the word family is one of the most loosely defined terms in the English language because it means something different to everyone. While one person may define family as the relatives who share their home, another may consider family to include extended relatives residing near and far. All right. See, it's not popping up, but on here, at least it's got the closest shit. Family consists of people who support and love you and people you can confide and trust. Like, I'm not sure why it's not popping up, and I am using all the filters that I normally use. And they changed the definition of family here, too. That's the funny part. This is crazy how they changed all this shit. Well, they changed it, right? Um, we got a good idea of what defines family, right? It is so many things going on around here, around us, right? We got so many kids out here that should be in their households, right? But at the end of the day, they consider, right, family the person, right, or the household that treats them better than what they're getting treated at home, right? How do generational differences shape family dynamics and communication, right? Because back then, the way families was raised is way different from the way that families is raised now, right? Now we got, how can I say it? Now, back then I think they used to go into marriages, right? Even if they had a baby, they used to try to make the relationship work, right? But I mean, back then they used to date and get to know each other, right? They used to listen. I'm not gonna sit here and lie, right? It's just worse now than what it was back then. But back then, people used to also hop into relationships, right? Because dysfunctional families did exist. We're not gonna sit here and sugarcoat that, right? We're really not going to sit here and sugarcoat that, right? Back in the days, even though that the way the discipline, right, and chastising was given was different, I feel as though that it's not something new, right? That we're having. It's not. How can I say it? It's not new. The fact that we're having dysfunctional families. It just seems like that we're having more and more dysfunctional families now in this era in 2025, and I'm not sure if it's that how can I say it? Something that has to do like how some people I've heard some people say that is a generational curse. Is it really a generational curse, right? Or is it something that we're making happen? Are we breaking the chains of society, right? And being who we truly meant to be? Or are we, can I say, still repeating history? Me personally, I could sit here and say that I'm blessed, right? I've had the right support system to be able to break the chains of society, right? And be who I am meant to be. I'm listening to tell y'all the truth. I used to try to be, how can I say? I used to try hard to be not like my mom, and then it took a minute for me to sit here and understand through the conversations that I was having around, right, with the people that was around me that cared and they loved me, right, that at the end of the day, I am my own person, right, and my past doesn't determine who I am. And a lot of us, for some reason, right, seem to, let our past determine who we are. To what extent do past experiences shape our identity, and how much control do we have in redefining ourselves, right? And I feel as though that's something that we do, right? Like we could do, but it takes time. And the way that I sit here and redefine myself is not the same way that you could sit here and redefine yourself, right? We all sit here and, how can I say it? How can I sit here and say it? We all have to sit here and take a look in the mirror, right? And ask ourselves that one question. Do you like the person that's looking back at you? Do you like the person that's talking back at you, right? Can people truly change, or do parts of their past always influence their present choices, right? And I feel as though that a lot of us can change. Some of us, right, and I'm going to be honest, right, listen, if my opinions offend you, right, I'm going to tell you right now, before I keep going, if my opinions or anybody's opinions from the Writers for Life podcast offend you, anybody in the chat, any host that comes up, I mean any host, any guest that comes up, right, and speaks with the host, if their opinions offend you, this is not the channel for you. Let me just tell you right now, right? The door's right there. Make sure the doorknob doesn't hit you, but a good Lord split you, right? Because we're all gonna have opinions. Opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one, right? And if somebody's opinion bothers you or makes you feel some type of way, then something's wrong with you. This is not the channel where you want to come and try to seek some type of validation, because at the end of the day, you won't get no respect over here. Seeking validation makes me lose respect to anybody else. It does. It makes people lose respect. So at the end of the day, right, speak your mind, speak with your chest out, say it like you mean it. Because we're here to talk about it. We're here to bring solutions to the table, right? We're here to see if we can make a change and a difference. Can we? And the shorty does feel like we can, right? It's just that it's not enough of us together. Not enough of us coming together, right? And there's so many things that, we can come together and make a difference, right? I've heard some people say, hey, can we start a community? Is it possible? I think it's possible, right? If enough of us come together, right, we can start our own education system. As long as we don't fuck with the government won't fuck with us. Can we, teach our kids what we want to teach them? Yes, we got the opportunity to homeschool our kids. But a lot of people see it as, oh, it's going to take time for me. I can't do this. Is that your past experience, or is that you right now saying in the moment, no, I don't want to do this because I don't got the time. I feel like I don't got the time for it. For whatever reason it is that you feel like you don't got the time for it, right? Like, it's so many ways that I can go about this, right? How do cultural backgrounds influence parenting styles and expectations, right? And I feel as though that the cultural backgrounds, right, may influence certain family backgrounds, but not everybody's, right? And this is why I say it, right? Me personally, I feel as though that I'm somebody that doesn't. I feel as though I'm the ugly duckling. I'm some, I'm a puzzle. I'm a puzzle piece misplaced, right, on the table when it comes to sitting here and trying to live the traditional way, right? I can't do that. If anything, I'm starting my own tradition, right? My own rules. I can't sit here because my family's vision, my family's way of seeing the world, my family's way of thinking isn't mine, right? So my loyalty, right? My morals, my respect, all that, right? I must say my loyalty lies within those that are here with me, those that are supporting me, those that are motivating me, those that are helping me climb that ladder, right? And making sure that if I fall, the landing is soft. Because at one point, I kept falling off the ladder, but there was no soft landing. Listen, we all have ups and downs. And at one point, listen, we all hit that wall where we have to sit here and take time like, oh shit, I need to get my shit together because if not, I'm going to end up losing this or I'm everything that I worked for is not going to be there. So it's kind of like, I hear so many people say, oh, your loyalty should be here. My loyalty should be where? My loyalty resides where it's earned. And I'm loyal to me first, right? Before I'm loyal to anybody else. But trust and believe my loyalty is right there towards the family that I have built, towards the family that I have created, right? So I have a lot of questions for y'all, right? Should family loyalty ever overweigh personal happiness and well-being, right? And when it comes to the family, right, that birthed me, I don't know, because how can you render something that was never given to you? I had to learn about loyalty on my own within these streets, right? And like I tell people, right, a lot of people know my story is out there. I was raised, it was just me and my mother, right? I didn't know who my father was until I reached a certain age, right? My grandfather was there the majority of my life, right? But my grandfather lived in PR, right? It was, times where, okay, how can I sit here? Every year he would sit here and take the time come Christmas, New Year's, right? Three Kings Day, they celebrated that. I hated holidays, right? Especially when I would ask questions and they were sugarcoated. But hey, I gotta sit here and give my grandpa a shout out because he was one of the ones that didn't sugarcoat that shit, right? I was able to talk to my grandfather about a lot of things except for what the trauma that I was going through in that household. But I can sit here and tell you that when I talked to my grandfather, I felt better because he would sit here and answer every question that I had, whether it was about history, what was going on in the community. You see where I'm coming from? And he would tell me the truth, his past. So it's kind of like I feel as though that, it's like the loyalty, right? You can't just give your loyalty to everybody. The same way that trust is not just given, it's earned. Loyalty is not just given. That shit is also earned. And how do you earn somebody's loyalty? And I don't think you have to sit here, right, to earn somebody's loyalty. You got to look for it. Why are you looking for loyalty? Right? At the end of the day, it's like, all right, I know that I could, be loyal to this person because this person doesn't got to show me, doesn't got to prove to me no more, right? That I can sit here and be loyal. It's, whew, the way that we is now in 2025 is so different from the way we was in the 80s and the 90s, right? I was born in 89, so I didn't experience the 80s, right? I grew up in the 90s, right? And when I was growing up, right, I could sit here and tell you that I had the experience, right? I got to experience what it felt like to go camping, hiking, starting a campfire. I went to Girl Scouts. You see where I'm coming from? I did all that, right? We had family time. My mom used to take us fishing, right? And even though a lot of the memories are blurry, I could sit here and actually have conversation. Well, I could sit here and have little story times with my kids, right? And go back into the past and be like, oh, we did this, right? Shit. But we live in an era that I'm sitting here, I was like, damn, man. Like, even though we wasn't in the house a lot, right? My mom did take us out. I used to go to Girl Scouts, camping. She used to take us camping too. So it's kind of like you miss that. Now everything's about technology, right? Even, when I first met my baby pops, he said it too. Like, shit, the first time I met that man, he wasn't old. But I'm sitting here, I was like, yo, you're the first person that I know that is in this era with a goddamn flip phone. Like, shit, what year was it? I think it was like 2014, if I'm not mistaken. It was around the time that my baby pops passed, my kid's father, my boy's father. And dude was still stuck on the damn flip phone. To this day, he don't have no social media. Right? The social media he gets into is mine. He doesn't like social media. And guys, the panel is open for anybody that wants to come out here, come on panel, let it out, let anything out their chest, start a topic, start a conversation with a shorty. Y'all more than welcome. We're not here to judge. I'm just starting off the conversation like this, right? Because I've been hearing a lot of conversation, a lot of controversies about family, right? About the internet, right? On how we don't spend time with our kids the way, we used to spend time with our families. And you know what's crazy? I could sit here and tell y'all that the way that me and my kids are, it's not that different from the way, I was with my mom. It's just that I'm more into my kids' life than what my mom was in her kids' life, right? Um, but that's why I'm going way back into my past, because I'm not, listen, if I'm going to use anybody's story, I'm going to use mine. I'm not going to sit here and talk about nobody else's story, right? Unless I'm reviewing and reacting to a video and I'm giving my opinion or some shit like that. But other than that, shit. But everything is way different. And I see why a lot of people are trying to, bring these conversations up, right? These panels that are, how can I say, these panels that are positive, that are trying to actually bring solutions to the table and have a better understanding of what's going on with our youth, right? Because we have the biggest question that's being asked right now is, how does technology affect modern family relationships for better or worse, right? And back then, even though I could sit here and I call myself a hybrid because I was raised in the 90s, right? I could say I got more of a recollection of the early 2000s than the early 90s. I can remember more of what was happening in the late 90s and early 2000s than what I remember in the early 90s. So I do know that, I had my first phone was a goddamn chirp, like I tell everybody, right? That I experienced a cell phone before that. Yeah, my mom had a goddamn what was them little Nokias and shit like that. She had them Jones. But my first phone, my mine's, was actually one of them damn Boost Mobile chirps. I don't know if y'all remember them little Motorola's and Jones was like walkie talkies and shit like that. You had to pay as you go. You had to buy this little card, put the minutes in there, John. And then, you can either make a phone call or you can either chirp, chirp. I can't do the little thing. You can chirp your friends, right? And that shit used to be cool. So that was one of my first phones, right? But I'm not going to sit here and lie. I didn't start getting into computers until now that I'm doing the podcast. Me personally, right? Because of the way my mom brought us up, right? I'm more into movies. I'm more into music, right? Shit, I grew up in a household where music was played every weekend to clean. You see where I'm coming from? No, I didn't have to clean with a toothbrush, but shit, it was that point where she said, don't make me, no sigas jodiendo que te voy a hacer limpiar con un cepillo de diente. In other words, shit, don't keep fucking with me because I'm going to make you clean the whole house with a toothbrush like my mama made me. Yo, shit, my mom used to cuss us out and threaten us if we didn't get the job done right in the way she liked it, right? But we not like that with these kids, right? Our discipline and our chastising is different, right? I think as parents, we're a little softer. Me personally, I don't feel like we should be whooping our kids' asses the way they, no 2x4s, no extension cords, right? None of that. I'm not with that. I feel as though that we can get through our kids by talking to them, but a lot of us don't. See, a lot of households fail to, have the discipline. Me, will I pop my child? Yes. Will I pop my? Hell yeah. Will I throw the flip flop across the room and see if I have a bullseye? What the hell did I just tell you? Sit your ass down. But to sit here and grab obstacles to beat on my child, I'm against that, right? And I feel as though that yes, we need a discipline, yes, we need a chastise, but we don't need to beat on our kids to the point where they lose their lives. And we have a lot of parents, and I don't know if it's the lack, right? The lack of experience, the lack of knowledge. I don't know what it is, right? That their chastising, their form of whooping a child's ass is by grabbing objects, by throwing their child down the steps. You see where I'm coming from? And by the way, let me give Gary Bust It Down Brown a shout out, right? Because he inspired the beginning of this live. He is really the reason why we starting this live off, with the family. And I was supposed to do this earlier, but I had a couple things to do. My daughter wouldn't go to sleep, right? So right now we hitting on these topics, right? Then I got on Gary's live for a little bit, but he got off, and I had to get on this John before I got a little later, right? So like I said, we broke it down before we really broke down the definition of familiar, right? So for me, I feel as though the technology is making it worse, right, between families.
Like, I don't think that we can even sit at the table and have dinner without anybody pulling out a phone, because what conversations can we have? Like back then, I used to sit here and, when it was dinner time, or, when it was breakfast, it used to be a little conversation. Breakfast, not as much, right? But I did sit here and have friends, right, where I would walk in their house in the mornings, right, before we went to school, and they did have breakfast, right? Me, I just don't like breakfast. My mom made it. Coffee, scrambled eggs, toast. Man, she made the work. She was a whole chef. But around dinner time, yeah, it was conversations. How was your day? How was school? You have any homework or projects got to get done? Da, 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 da. And I'm not talking about like in the movies, but there were some households where, including my mom, like at times, we did have it. Not every day, but there were times where we would sit at the table as a family and have a little conversation and express what we felt and what was going through our heads, right? But then there were the times where, like I tell people, my past was a little dark, right? But I feel as though, yeah, I feel as though that these kids are, and not just within the families, technology is running everything. Because the last time we did the live, right, we was talking about, and we do got to finish that video, right? Um, we was speaking on how the teacher had just quit her job, right? And she quit her job because she feel as though that the kids don't care about school. She said half these kids can't read, right? And I mean, me personally, I'm trying to figure out, right? And I don't think I got to figure it out. I think I got the answer, right? I think that the majority of these kids can't read because it's not up to the teachers, it's not up to the educators, it's not up to the celebrities, it's not up to the government for your child to go into school, right? And learn how to spell, read, or write their name. Before your child enters kindergarten, your child should at least know how to write their first and last name, know where they live. You see where I'm coming? At least count to 50 to 100. At least, right? But that's not the issue. That's not the case nowadays. The issue is that these parents, a lot of parents, are expecting the kids, the teachers, the celebrities, and the government to solve their problems, right? And it starts from home. And I feel as though that the blame isn't just on the government, right? It's not just in the schools. The parents also got to take accountabilities, right, for their failures too, for their mistakes, right? Because a lot of them don't want to do things. I mean, we live in an era where a lot of families have gotten lazy. You see where I'm coming from? Like, I live in a community where at one point it used to be a community, right? We live in an era where, how can I say, parents are turning on kids, kids are turning on parents, right? So, like I said, it's so many dynamics that could go with this, right? But let me ask y'all this, right? If a mother sits here, right, and tells her son to turn himself in because her son has committed a crime, does that make her a bad mother, right? Or does that make her a mother that is worried and care about her son, right? There's this snooze clip, right, that I was talking to somebody about earlier, right? And I'm sitting here, right? I mean, I understand a mother's pain, right? When their child has to go, you know, their child has to turn themselves in, right, to the law because they have this they had committed a certain crime, right? But this mother is being judged because it turns out to be the stepfather that her son had killed. So we're gonna look at this video. This video was sent to me, right? And we were supposed to review and react to this video the other day on the last live that we was on, but we didn't, right? But does this make this mother mad? I mean, a bad mother because she wants her son to turn himself in, after unaliving, the stepfather. It says the mother of a convicted teenager accused of killing his stepfather is pleading with him to turn himself in. The Newton County Sheriff Office says Jaden Daniel should be considered armed and dangerous. So we're going to play this video, right? And I'm going to see if I can find an update to this.
Is grieving as her son is on the run, accused of killing her husband. Good afternoon. Thanks so much for joining us here for Fox 5 News at 5. I'm Tom Haynes.
I'm Courtney Bryant. Newton County deputies say 41-year-old David Gay was shot and killed by his stepson in the family home last evening. Fox 5's Angelique Proctor just talked with the wife of the victim, who is also the mother of the suspect. A lot to take in for this woman. Angelique.
Good afternoon to you both. This Newton County mother is an emotional wreck. She clearly says she loves her husband, who was killed just last night, but tonight her plea is to her son, who is accused of murder and on the run. She says she wants him to turn himself in. Now, we just talked with her minutes ago. Take a listen.
Please turn yourself in. This is the ultimate breaking for me, and I said I couldn't lose another child, and I lost my husband, and now I really can't lose another child. David loved you. He loved me.
Crazy.
He loved Kennedy, and he loved this family. He loved like you guys were his own. So if you see this, or if anybody sees this who has any information or who can contact Jaden, please let him know that I love him.
Now, Newton County deputies confirm both Gay and Daniel lived in the same house together on Avery Drive in Covington. Deputies say Daniel opened fire on his stepfather last night, then fled the scene in his stepfather's Cadillac Escalade. Now, they found that Escalade at a nearby park, Denny Dobbs Park, but Daniel was nowhere to be found. Now, his mom says after losing one son last year to murder and gun violence, and that was Kendarius Spear, and a husband just last night to gun violence, David Gay, she says she does not want to lose another family member. Now, Mrs. Gay says she was not at home and she does not know what happened. We will have much more of her interview tonight at 6.
So was this a troubled teen? Was something happening, right, in this household, in this family? Right? What factors contribute to violent family conflicts, and how can they be prevented? Right? How does a mother plead for her son to surrender reflect the complexities of love, justice, and accountability? And what does remorse play in legal proceedings, and should it influence sentencing? Right? And we gotta get a little more info, right? A little more details, right, on what happened. Right, what caused this stepson to sit here and do something like this to his stepfather? Because I've been trying to research if there's any more, right, anything else, but it just keeps saying video after video of turn yourself in. Right, mom begs her son to turn himself in. That's it. Mom speaks out after 12. No, that's it. Like, there's no updates to this. Let me see. Will this video show me a little more? And I think it's the same video. This is the only other update I got on this. Let me see. Alright, we're going to remove that. And we're going to share this. Yes. Is this the same video? Okay, I put the wrong video up. So we're gonna remove that and put this one on. My bad, my bad. So I mean, for me, we need more details on this, right? I don't got enough information to really give a good perspective, right? All I know is that this young man had unalived his stepfather, right? And I'm not sure what was happening in the family household, right? And it seems like he was also, a troubled teen. So I would have to get a little more details, right, to give my opinion, right? But I don't think that just because a mother tells, and is pleading her son to turn himself in, right, this makes her a bad mother at all. If anything, she's probably worried. She's already said she lost one son, lost a husband, and she doesn't want to lose the other, right? But it's crazy. We've seen videos where mothers have, let their sons go to jail. Like just recently, this mother, got fed up with her son, right? And it's crazy because I feel as though she got put in between a nail and a wall, right? In a way. But there was other options. She said, "Fuck it." She wasn't going to pay her son's bail, but her son wasn't going to juvie, right? Her son was going to actually go to adult prison, right? And on the way to go to adult prison, right? In the prison bus, her child got sexually assaulted and unalived by another prisoner that was on that bus. And this is a video that is, I think they have it here on YouTube, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody was speaking on it, and it's also all over TikTok. So, I mean, it's so many things. Like, I don't think that these are bad parents. It's just that at the end of the day, sometimes some parents' hands get tied up in a way that it's like, damn. I mean, may they regret the decision they make? Yeah, a lot of them do. But, we all make mistakes, and I tell people that not all parents, was given a manual, right? We wasn't given a manual to say here, oh, this is how you got to raise your child, right? Because at the end of the day, each day you learn something new, right? Especially with your child. Your child teaches you new things every day. And that's why I say a lot of the times, our kids are the teachers and we are the students.
Mother is pleading for the teenager who killed her 13-year-old son to turn himself in. This comes as police released this video of Jamiron Crosby and a masked teenager he was last seen alive with. The next day, Jamiron was found shot and killed. Channel 2's Candace McCowan joining us live now from DeKalb County Police Headquarters. And Candace, the teenager's mother, told you tonight they need answers.
Yeah, and George, Chanel Crosby tells me she's so desperate for answers that she has come up with a $10,000 reward for any information that might lead to an arrest. She says she is confident tonight that DeKalb County investigators can find that shooter.
Yeah, we're gonna get justice.
It's been 6 weeks and Chanel Crosby is still waiting on answers.
You gonna have to turn yourself in and give your story. We want to know what happened to Jamiron.
Answers are what Chanel wants from the teen seen in this video released by DeKalb County Police. It shows the final moments of 13-year-old Jamiron Crosby's life as he walked away from his home early on September 18th. It was the next day he was found about a mile away, shot and killed in the brush in a townhome community.
It's been a long month and I still feel like I'm living in a nightmare, or like this is unreal.
Is the teen with you?
Is she the same mother? Well, she look definitely. I think she is. Wait a minute.
Him in the video.
So I guess this is the brother?
Investigators are now calling a suspect, and it's someone Chanel tells Channel 2 her son had a history with.
We got in trouble in the past together. I don't understand. Actually been fighting, just became back friends. I don't understand why he.
So this is before.
What do you think happened that night?
So this is before her son sat here and unalived her husband. Oh, snap. This is crazy.
Jamiron was with the wrong crowd of guys. I don't know how many it was.
Chanel was excited about her son's future. She just signed him up for football, ready to be a football mom. But now, instead of sitting on the sidelines, she's determined to find out why her son was taken from her and calling on the parents of the teen in this video to do the right thing.
You just turn them in before it be your child.
And investigators have not released a motive in Jamarion's murder, but his mother is hoping that with an arrest that she can get some of those answers. George?
Let me see. Was this the one that I was just seeing?
Tonight, a DeKalb County mother is pleading for the.
Oh, it took me straight to YouTube. Huh. Which one was it that I was watching? Here. No, that's not it. Oh, no, I was just watching a video. I'm going to have to go back to the previous one. All right. So I got. Was it this one? Yeah, it's not going to show more. That's it. Those are the only ones. And I don't think that, that makes a mother a bad parent because, a child, how can I say it? Her child is actually, behaving bad, right? How do cases like this impact public perception of juvenile offenders in rehabilitation? And what psychological effects might this tragedy have on the mother? And how can community support her? Should courts treat family-related homicides differently than other violent crimes? And I don't think they should, right? I just want to know a little bit more. See, because I can't even say what could have prevented this tragedy. How can similar situations be avoided in the future? None of that. Not with a little bit of info, right? So, like, if y'all get a little bit more on that, let a shorty know, right? Because I'm going to keep looking for the update. But what influences kids to have this type of violent behavior, right? Is it that something that's going on in the community? Is it something that's happening within the household itself, right? Because, damn, like this mom is really going through it. Does technology have a part to, like, what made him, like, damn, it shows in the video, right, that his brother got shot by another teenager, right? And the mom is asking for the family to take responsibility. And then right after that, young boy sits here and unalives the stepfather. What are the biggest challenges that families face today, and how can they be addressed? Can family bonds remain strong even without frequent communication or physical closeness? And I don't know, because when I left my house when I was young, I never went back because, I didn't want to go back to the bullshit, the drama, right? My son wanted to leave because I said no to something at one point, right? And this is something, that happened in social media, right? Through social media, right? And it's something that I spoke on. But my son came back. And what's crazy is he's more respectful now. He's grown a little bit, right, since then. And I feel as though that our bond has gotten stronger. And that could be because of the way that I raised him, right? The different things that I did that were, different from how my mom raised us, right? Because once again, I decided to break the chains, right? I sit here, I have conversations with my kids, right? I don't care how hard they are, how scary they are, how uncomfortable they are. I still got to sit here and play that role because I'm their mother. If I don't do it, somebody else is going to do it, right? So I can't sit here and let my past determine, who I am right now in my present, right? So I feel as though that a lot of people dwell in the past. A lot of people sit here and dwell on a family tradition, right? Instead of, starting something from scratch, starting something fresh, right? Because we are not our parents, right? And at the end of the day, right? I don't know. Because me personally, neither one of my parents are here, and I forgive them. I've moved on, right? Me, I just don't want to relive how we was living back then, right? I want to make things different. I don't want to sit here and have my kids, how can I say, live in a toxic environment, right? I want them to be happy. I don't want them to sit here and hate me, grow up to feel like, I don't care about them when it's not really like that. Put my problems on them because at the end of the day, my burdens are not their burdens, right? They also have a life of their own. So, you know, I got to teach them. I got to lead by example. I got to teach them how to start their own family, right? And I don't want it to be like in the past because we're not in segregation. We're not in slavery, right? At the end of the day, listen, my family consists of people with different ethnicities, different cultures, right? Different skin colors. So me, I don't go by that. And I teach my kids every day that, right? I also teach them how to respect themselves, how to love themselves, right? And prepare themselves for whatever happens next in life, right? Because listen, we all have obstacles thrown at us. Each and every single one of us. Now, I've been an hour on this, John, right? The last time everybody's like, you gotta leave the link, right? And then when I was leaving, everybody, the people was trying to hop on this, John. I got the link drop. Y'all can bring your own topics, and nobody jumped on this, John. But I'm gonna continue, right? I'm gonna stay on here a little bit longer. Let me see, which one is this one? Mother, please, right? I'm going to stay here a little bit longer, right? We're going to keep talking about these controversial conversations, right? I'm going to keep asking mind-provoking questions, right? Let me hit a little bit on the DDG and Haley Bailey situation, right? We was talking about that yesterday, right? And, it's so much going on with the DDG and the Haley situation, right? It's the same situation, right, with the Cassie and the P. Diddy situation, right? A lot of people are looking at Cassie side eyes, right? And a lot of people are like, Cassie's a victim. Like I told y'all the last time, and like I tell people, like, when we speaking on chats, my mind ain't changing, right? I feel as though that Cassie started off with the shits, right? She was with this in the beginning. She wanted to get famous and she didn't care how, but not realizing that, she was going to become a victim in the end, right? And like, she's not innocent. That's my whole point. She's not innocent in all this, right? But she's also a victim. And it's hard to explain because unless you've been in that world where you've been, abused and hurt and stuff like that, y'all not going to understand. Did she look for what came because people warned her? Yes, kind of like on the Haley Bailey and the DDG situation, right? Haley Bailey was warned about how DDG was and what was going to happen if she got in a relationship with him. She didn't care. She decided to test the waters, see if she wanted it or not, and fuck what everybody else said, right? So it turns out that, she got a restraining order on him, right? We did a video on it on our last live. We spoke on it, right? And that's why, once again, the question leads back to, do our social media platforms harmful, right? Or helpful? And I feel as though they got their pros and they got their cons, right? And it depends on what you, the content creator, is uploading, right? It depends. And it depends on what the consumer, right, the viewer wants to watch. And I don't get tired of saying it because it's us. We content creators and the consumers and the viewers that sit here. It's up to us if we make it toxic or if we make it positive. Depending on what we want to watch as consumers and viewers and what we upload, right, as content creators, right? So it has its pros and its cons, but it depends on the people, what gets put out there. Oh shit, we got the beautiful Selena in the building. Blessings. You was just live, wasn't you? I know I just shared your live. I know you was just live. You was over there sipping and chilling with the homegirls and shit. My bad, the Philly accent coming out. But guys, make sure y'all go check out Selena, yo. Great conversations, great topics. Go check out her live because I know she was just live. I don't know if she's still live or not, but I know she was live, right? And she be doing some of the best interviews here on YouTube. My laptop. There we go. Damn. My laptop is pointing everywhere else. My hair is everywhere because of the cap. But yeah, guys, make sure y'all go check her out, right? She just got done doing a live, right? And it was a great live. I know I was watching it before I got on here, before I got on Gary's panel, right? Make sure y'all sub up, check her out, like the videos, and, help her bring awareness to each and every one of the topics that she's, bringing up. Ow. But my bad. Back on topic, right? We was just talking about DDG and Haley Bailey, right? And like I was saying, when it comes to the Cassie situation, right, she's not innocent. Is she a victim? At the same time, yes. I think, when I do another open panel, right, and I have more people up here and we can actually talk about it, I will. It's a little hard to break it down, right? It really is. But I feel as though she sat here and in the beginning, she didn't care how she was going to be famous, but ended up being a victim, right? And that does happen, unfortunately. It does happen in a lot of situations, right? Creators are responsible for their platforms. Yep, facts. That's what I was talking about. Damn, I got thrown the fuck off. Thank you, Selena. She brought me back on topic, yo. I was about to repeat myself all over again, yo. And that's a fact, yo. I feel as though that social media, right? The toxicity comes from us as content creators, right? As consumers and as viewers, right? And we live in an era where, for some reason, right? How can I say? There's a lot of platforms that make it, right? A lot of people thought that I wasn't going to be able to get monetized, that I wasn't going to make it. This is my second channel. You see where I'm coming from? And me over here, when it comes to, beef, drama, and bullshit, I'm not with it. When it comes to the disrespect, I'm not with it, right? I'm all about bringing awareness to a lot of things, right? Bringing solutions to the table, right? If we can't bring a solution to the table, we can't bring a solution to the table. But I'm not going to sit here and indulge in the bullshit, right? Because as a grown woman, right, at the age of 35, I should not be behaving like I am 15 years old. You see where I'm coming from? I should not be talking to people my age, younger or older, like if I was 15 years old, like if I was a little girl that had a temper tantrum and when she didn't get her way, she just sat here and just cursed everybody out. You see where I'm coming from? We are the ones that sit here, right, that need to lead by example, but we don't. Unfortunately, we got content creators, right, that spread misinformation, that spread toxicity, right, that spread bad energy, while we got content creators on here that, how can I say, that sit here and spread knowledge, give out wisdom, right? We got content creators that, how can I say it, that I could sit here and say are influencers, right? But not everybody is meant to, I guess, how can I say, spread that positive message or be positive, right? I don't think everybody could constantly. I mean, I think we can. And what people don't understand is, right, I don't want to ball it up, so let me change it up and say this, right? It's two sides to all of this, right? There's a good side and there's a bad side, right? It's up to you as a person, right, which side you're going to bring out, right? But sometimes, people bring out that bad side, the worst in you, right? But it's up to you if you're going to let them knock you off your hinges. You see where I'm coming from? Because it's like I tell everybody, and I don't get tired of saying this, right? If this person is telling you that I'm a bitch, that I'm in this, I'm an asshole, don't go over there, yeah, believe them. If this one's telling you, she's respectful, she's an angel, I love her, she's great to be around, believe them. Because that's true. Because I give people back the same energy, right? I'm not a little girl no more. You see where I'm coming from? I'm not that little girl that sat here, oh, this person said this and I believed, or, I had to ask questions, and people, sat here and pushed to the side. And, are you crazy? You don't know what you're talking about. No, I'm a grown ass woman, and I know right from wrong. You see where I'm coming from? And we all should be able to tell when somebody's trying to play somebody. You see where I'm coming from? So that toxicity shit, I don't go with that. And I'm allergic to excuses, right? I feel as though I'm a person that feel as though that where there's a will, there's a way, right? So can we be positive in this platform? Yes. Can we bring awareness? Yes. I have a channel, right? And shout out to the word, right? Shout out to the word. Shout out to Nate the Great Podcast, right? Because these are two men that took me under their wing, right? Two men took me under their wing and helped the shorty out. Listen, I got to give credit where credit is due. I'm not going to sit here and lie. Like, listen, I had trouble in the beginning. These two men guided me. They showed me the path. And from there, I went and did everything else on my own. They still here. They're still a part. I'm still a part of their platforms. They're still a part of mine. But I'm not going to sit here and lie. If it wasn't for their advice and their guidance, right? And if it wasn't for my day one subscribers and all that, I wouldn't have made it this far. I wouldn't have. All right, because I'm somebody that I'm not going to sit here and lie, right? I'm very unfiltered, right? There's no filters in my mouth, right? There's no hairs in my tongue. And you better have a hell of a lot of tape to sit here and censor me. A hell of a lot of rope to sit here and tie me down. Because I'm going to speak my mind. And at the end of the day, right is right, wrong is wrong, right? We can cut so many things down the middle. But the one thing you cannot cut down the middle is right and wrong. How do you cut that? How do you cut that down the middle? If somebody could sit here and explain to me and show me how you can cut right and wrong down the middle, I'm willing to listen. But me personally, I feel as though you can't. Why do these platforms become toxic? Why is it that these kids are receiving the messages that they're receiving, right? Because at the end of the day, right, we want these shows. It ain't, how can I say, it ain't them. They give us the options, they give us the choices, right? But it ain't them putting a gun to our heads saying, hey, yo, go on live. Sit here and sell your soul. Decide to twerk for a couple dollars, right? Sit here and go curse somebody out. Go threaten somebody out and say, oh, it's roasting, when it's really not roasting. You see where I'm coming from? People choose this. They're going to take the money that's given to them. Yeah, hell yeah. Because like I was saying yesterday, right, I feel as though it's crazy, right, how they'll sit here. There's these crazy ass TikTok challenges that are going viral, right? But I tell people that these challenges go viral because these kids learned it from somebody. They learned it from somewhere. They got it from somewhere, right? Then they go on live and they do this. They're going to do it whether it's on TikTok, whether it's on Snapchat, right? They're not doing nothing different from what we used to do when we was younger. When we first started off on Facebook, Instagram, and all that, right? They're not. The only thing is what they're doing is they're mastering what we was trying to do, right? And being shout out and crazy, no guidance with it. So how do y'all expect them not to do that when we're the first ones doing it? Y'all say y'all want them to change, but in order for them to do that, we have to lead by example, right? So once again, right, it's not that the government is putting a gun in people's heads saying, you got to do this, you got to do that. Nah. It's that this is what the people are asking for. This is what the people are asking for, right? You know how many times I said, right, if a celebrity really wanted to stay quiet on something that's going viral, something that has been said about them, they could really stay quiet. They don't really have to say nothing about it. But a lot of them do come out. Is it for the fame? Is it for the, clout? What is it for? I don't know. It's the same thing that, a lot of YouTubers be trying to do here, right? I'm roasting, I'm doing this. No, you're not roasting, you're being disrespectful, right? Because we can have panels, right, where we come on here, we bring awareness, right? We do reviews and reaction, right? We could be positive and we could end up joking around, goofing around. We could roast a little bit, right? But it doesn't lead to disrespect. Why isn't things changing? Because we're not making it change. Things are going to constantly stay the same. It's like, for example, when I said yesterday, if Chloe, if Haley Bailey, I'm saying Chloe because the video that we're going to watch, Chloe's in it. If Haley Bailey decided to get a restraining order, right, and DDG was actually beating on her, right, it means that she got tired, right? The question is, will she stay away? Because some women are used to it, right, and they'll go back to it. But if she got this, right, it means that she got tired. Is it true? That's something that, we're not sure. I mean, we know the world is a stage. According to them, it's true, right? So there's a lot going on, right? Family, right? Once again, it leads back to what is the definition of family? What is the terminology of family to you? My bad. I thought I had the video ready, and I don't know why it's not. So we talked a little bit about Chloe and DDG's situation, right? Now we got family jumping into the whole dynamic, right? We got Chloe Bailey threatening DDG now, right? She's threatening DDG. She's gonna put pause on DDG. Shit, if that was my sister and I found out her man was putting pause on him, listen, there's nothing in this world that's gonna stop me. Like, oh, I don't know who you think you is, but you're about to pay for this. But the thing is, right? The thing is here, right? Sometimes before we jump into family issues, should we think about what we're doing, right? Because how do we know that Haley isn't also toxic? We know DDG is, right? He comes online, he's messy, he does this, he does that. None of this shit should have came out. It shouldn't have came out. Their dirty laundry shouldn't have been aired out. But unfortunately, they did it, right? It got aired out. We know about it. People's going to talk about it. They're going to give their opinions. They're going to give their perspectives. It's out there. I feel as though that this is something they should have handled, right, as a family. But apparently, right, it seems like DDG is, behaving like a little boy, doesn't want to sit here, have the conversation with Haley, right? We don't know if Haley also behaves the same way behind closed doors. This is something we got to sit here and cut down the middle, all right? We also, I sat here, in the beginning, I was confused. I was trying to figure out, like, damn, is he the toxic one? Like, damn, I feel bad because, a lot of men don't get a chance to be with their kids. A lot of females pull a lot of pranks. We talked about it, right? The behavior of our men online, on social media, and outside of it. We've had lives about this, and a big shout out to the men that have pulled up on the panel and had conversations with a shorty. Once again, the link is down below. It's in the community wall. If y'all do wish to come up and talk with a shorty, don't wait for a shorty to end the live to come up here, y'all. Because then I'm not going to be able to let y'all up, man. I got to end the live. I would love to hear y'all perspectives. Let's get this conversation started, right? But listen, if you found out that your sister was getting abused by, their ex, what would y'all do as a sibling? Would y'all say, fuck it, man, I told her to leave him, she didn't want to take heed? Because Haley Bailey has been warned. Or would y'all, jump in and say, fuck it, he's going to receive these calls one way or another, right? Like, this is crazy. How does public scrutiny impact the way domestic violence cases involving celebrities are handled? Right? And what role does family support play in helping victims of abuse seek justice?
Name out your mouth. Thank you.
DDG is about to find out the hard way that Chloe does.
And y'all better keep my sister's name out your mouth. Thank you.
DDG is about to find out the hard way that Chloe does not play about Holly, because the streets are saying that Chloe is planning revenge on DDG for putting pause on Holly. In case y'all somehow missed the drama that's been going on, DDG has been on a rampage against Holly on social media. He has been trying to paint her like the bad guy and bitter baby mama, accusing her of keeping their son away from him to punish him. But Holly recently flipped the story around when she got a restraining order against DDG, claiming that he allegedly DV'd her and hurt her badly in front of their son. Well, this seems to be the very last straw for Chloe, and it looks like she's about to pull up on DDG the hard way. Girl, this is about to be a mess, and we're about to see the crazy side of Chloe pop out, so let's get into this drama. Okay, so we've known for a long time that things between DDG and Holly weren't exactly good, but we never thought that it was going to be this bad. In case y'all missed it, Holly recently got a restraining order against DDG, and according to the court documents, things got really toxic and really violent. She revealed that his toxicity and violent streak were the reason that they broke up in December. She wrote, "Our relationship ended in 2024 because of Daryl's temper and lack of respect towards me. There have been numerous incidents of physical even before Halo was born.
We got to be honest, yo. She's been consistent on what she's been saying. Now, the abuse is something new, right? But the signs are there with DDG. Like, the signs are there. And I'm not sure is that he's a spoiled kid or something like that. But no man should behave the way he behaved, right? And that's my opinion. I don't know what y'all think, what y'all perspectives are, and what y'all perspectives is, right? Me personally, right? If my baby daddy was acting, listen, I did it. I pulled it. When my baby daddy was acting childish and shit like that, I walked away, right? I left his ass where he was. And I'm not talking about my current baby daddy. I'm talking about my first fiance, the one that passed away. Right? I did it. You want to sit here and be a mama's boy? I ain't got time for that. I do not got time to sit here and raise two kids, because at the time we had one child together. And I was young and he was way older than me. So it's kind of like sometimes we don't got time for that bullshit. Like, we need to grow up. At what point in time, do you grow up? Like, we shouldn't be popping these kids out here. We're not, how can I say it, fully matured up here in the head. But unfortunately, this is what's happening, right? We got kids having, we got babies having babies. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I was a baby having a baby. I was forced to grow up. Why? Because I wanted to be grown at the moment. So since I wanted to be grown at the moment, I had to force myself to grow up. It's not that they forced me to grow up. I had to force myself to grow up.
Often calls me profanities, including the B word. He often called me evil. She also claimed that he
still a
was
little
irresponsible toward Halo, saying Daryl lacks an understanding of how his actions impact Halo. He is often verbally towards me in front of Halo. On March 7, 2025, Daryl was verbally and physically towards me while holding Halo while visiting my home. He often demands to see Halo when it suits him, yet leaves Halo with his mother while he travels. He will not communicate with me about a proper schedule for Halo. Oh, and y'all know how DDG has been going on and on about how she was playing power games with him and using Halo as a... In March, he tweeted, "Been fighting to see my son for months now. Shout out to all the dads who try their best to be there. This ish sucks."
Every other day, I'm trying to see him. I'm trying to get him to come over or whatever. I never get him dropped off. I always go pick him up. I live far as shit, so I'm driving hours to go get him, and then I get there and I can't.
Nah, I remember this. I gotta pause it right here because we did the live and everything, right? And then after I did the live, right, more of his lies got exposed, and I'm sitting here. I'm like, it's like, why is he like, how? Let me ask y'all this one question, right? Do y'all believe that some parents shouldn't use their kids, like some content creators shouldn't use their kids when they go live and stuff like that? They should leave their kids out of it. Because I don't know, I feel as though some of them use their kids, right, for sympathy, for empathy, and much more. But maybe I'm wrong. But I don't know if DDG is trying to pull like, a female move, like the type of moves that a mother would pull on a father. You know how some females use their kids as tools to get what they want to get, right? But in reality, they don't really give a. I wonder if DDG is like that, because there's so many rumors about, this couple, and it's got me like, damn, what the hell is going on? But he has been exposed more than what she has. Like he's done way more than what she has. But would y'all sit here and put pause on y'all sister's ex that sat here and put pause on your sister? Or would y'all say fuck it? But if I know that my sister, my sister was trying her best to, co-parent and do what she got to do, and she's not the reason, this toxicity is going on, I'll get in it. But if she is the reason this toxicity is going on, I'm not getting in it.
Can't get him. I can't see him. My son is sick right now. I want to see my son. I want to hold my son. I want to, what I'm saying?
No, he seemed like a stalker.
Put him in the shower, get some steam in his nose so he can feel better. I don't get the chance to do that. I get pinned against the wall, and then everything else is variables on why I can't see my son. You feel me? Like it don't have nothing to do with me working, by the way. I'm not gonna air out her business.
Well, it turns out that he was just trying to cause drama, because when he did have Halo, he didn't even spend time with the baby. Instead, he would pose with the baby for some pictures to fool the internet and then pass off the baby to his mom. Holly said, since we broke up, we have had ongoing issues related to Daryl's last minute demands to see Halo without any schedule. He will not commit to any regular visits or schedule for visits. He demands Halo when it is convenient for Daryl only. I never know when I will get Halo back or where he will be. Based on my discussions with him and his mother, I'm aware that Daryl leaves Halo with his mother most of the visits, and his mother cares for Halo. I want Daryl's family to be close with Halo, but I believe Daryl should be present instead of simply leaving Halo with his family for days. Child, this man was out here doing the most, but in reality, he was doing the barest minimum. And baby, if you think it couldn't possibly get any worse, it can. According to Holly, she has to be Halo's major provider because in addition to being a difficult baby daddy, he also refuses to provide for Halo just to punish her. She wrote, this has become extremely upsetting to me because Daryl refuses to work with my attorney to set up any schedule. Instead, he is threatening that he will take our son 50% of the time and pay me zero support. It should be noted that he has never paid me child support, and I have never sought child support from him. I have asked him, however, to contribute to Halo's expenses. Only on one occasion has he done so. That's just nasty AF. Imagine being so loud on social media, but in reality, you don't see your kid or even provide for him. But you want to play Father of the Year on social media and have the world drag your baby mama.
Yeah, that's true. And if he's doing that, like, yo, that's a bad look on him. And I noticed that a lot of people, I mean, I've noticed a lot of families do that, right? I think I did a live a little while ago on the worst social media families, right? Families that were using their kids, right, to gain money on social media, right? And I'm hoping, DDG had his little career already going. He's going, allegedly to be an influencer on social media. But shit, is this the type of influencer you want your kids to, follow? Or do you prefer to be a child's influencer before an influencer like this reaches your child's mind and corrupts it?
Who is the only one providing for your child. But wait, there's more. Y'all remember how fans have accused DDG of deliberately trying to sabotage Holly's career? Fans have noticed how he always starts drama right when something big is happening in her career. It's always something negative that paints her in a negative light. Fans warned her about this, but it kind of seemed like she didn't believe us. However, it looks like she finally clocked the tea because she said as much in the legal documents. She wrote, on May 5th, 2025, the night of the Met Gala, Daryl started up again online. He went live on his Twitch channel, voicing that he was unable to see his son, implying that I was keeping Halo from him. He then created a firestorm of media around freeing Halo from me. The timing of his Twitch post was intended to ruin my night, which it did. I could not concentrate or be present at the Met Gala. I was worried about the situation again. Every time this happens, I feel scared, anxious, and worried about Halo's safety as well as my own. I have noticed a pattern of Daryl doing this when I have events related to my career, although I am trying to work hard to provide for our son. And speaking of his jealousy, he went off on her on Mother's Day when there were rumors that she spent the day with Brent Faiyaz in St. Lucia. As someone in the public eye, you think that DDG would know how easy it is for fake news to spread, right? Instead of talking it over like a rational adult, he went in on Holly and dragged her for filth. The text said, you think you hurt my feelings when you're really just ruining your own image. This is a terrible look.
I'm gonna pause it right here. I'm gonna rewind it back a couple seconds. Right, but what do y'all think is the issue? Why are so many couples having issues with co-parenting nowadays? I mean, and I'm not saying that this is something new. I'm saying that it's getting worse and worse, right? Like, it ain't no different from when I was growing up, right? It feels like, each parent puts the child in the middle of their burden, right? And they don't realize that the child is the one that ends up suffering in the end. Because now they're battling over the kid. They're trying to see who's going to get more time, this and that, right? One is being neglectful. The other one is being extra protectful, right? And at the end of the day, the child doesn't know what to do. And then when they grow up being resentful. Some of them end up even lashing out. Like, their focus should be on trying to, and she's trying according to, the report. But according to the report, is like he's being a little boy. And it's crazy because they are young. They is a real young couple when they first started, right, getting into all this. I'm not saying they're super, super young. I'm saying they is young with no experience. I feel as though they jumped into this, right? And then to top it off, DDG acts like a little boy and has a lot of insecurities. A lot of it seems, right?
Text said, you think you hurt my feelings when you're really just ruining your own image. This is a terrible look. Makes you look disgusting and evil. Enjoy your vacation. Happy Mother's Day, but just have the same energy when it's my turn to have him. I'm on the same ish. She replied, Daryl, are you not tired of me? You make up a new lie on me every day. I'm in St. Lucia having fun with Shermay and Chloe, not with any man out here. I wouldn't do that. I have Halo. I told your mom I was going to be with my sister last week. Please let me enjoy my Mother's Day in peace. I hope you're okay and feel better soon. If you think this couldn't possibly get worse, it does. She accused him of putting his paws on her in front of their child and leaving her with bruises. The legal document said, on January 18, 2025, Daryl called and said he was coming over to get Halo. I let him into my house and asked him politely when he would bring Halo back. I have repeatedly asked Daryl to please set a schedule. He did not want to talk and refused to tell me when he would bring Halo back. The discussion continued as I walked with him outside to assist to put Halo into the car seat. I was buckling the baby into his seat and physically got into the back seat to adjust the car seat. I had left my front door open and was not even fully dressed as I was not even wearing shoes. Daryl kept repeating, get out of my car, B. She continued. Halo was crying. I repeatedly pleaded with him to stop calling me a B. I felt very nervous that he was taking Halo with him and was very agitated. I did not feel safe leaving a baby with him in his state. I also wanted to know when he would bring Halo back. He would not tell me. The next thing I knew, things got physical between us. We fought each other, wrestling and tussling. At one point, Daryl was pulling my hair. He then slammed my face on the steering wheel, causing my tooth to get chipped. I then stopped fighting back as I was in a lot of pain. That was not the only time that he was violent with her. She also said, on March 7, 2025, Halo and I were both sick with RSV at my home. Daryl stopped by to see Halo. I had already warned about our sickness. I made it clear to him that I did not want Halo leaving my home because he was sick. He raised his voice and became verbally towards me, hurling bad names at me. He then saw that the Ring camera was recording. He unplugged the Ring camera, opened the side door, and threw the Ring camera out of my home.
Wow.
I went outside to retrieve the Ring camera. He then locked me out of my house. I went around the back and came into the house through another entrance. I plugged the camera back in and called my family member for help. She continued, when he realized that my family member was on the phone line, he became enraged. Around the same time, I noticed that he also saw the Ring camera was back on, so he smashed the camera. I have this recorded and will bring the recording to the hearing. Daryl then grabbed my phone and hung up on my call to my family member. At some point while he was distracted, I was able to get Halo from him. Daryl then ran out of the house with my phone. I followed, begging to please give me my phone back. He got into his car and closed the door on me while I was holding Halo. Daryl then drove off and threw my phone out the window and yelled, go get it, B. This is a hot mess. And DDG's mom threw shade at Holly, saying, I don't usually comment or say anything on this internet, even with all the negativity, the lies, and hatred towards mine. However, these accusations have made me realize that I have been quiet too long. Well, y'all want to know who is not enjoying this? Chloe. If there is one thing we know about Chloe and Holly, it's that they are insanely protective of each other.
Wait a minute. So is DDG a mama's boy? The mama's response. She's, even with the mom hearing, I got this on tape. She said, I've been quiet too long. So is you indulgent? Like, is you letting your son beat on women? Cheat on? Like, is you with this shit? Oh, shit. Listen, I'm a young mother, all right? Me and my son practically grew up with each other, all right? I was 16 when I got pregnant with him. He was, 17 when I gave birth to him. Listen, I'm only 16 years older than my son, all right? So, I mean, shit, I know I spoil my kids, but this mama shit, this baby, like, we got to pop a nipple out. Shout out to my baby pops for teaching me this. We got to pop that nipple out their mouth so our boys can become young men. And we got to have these conversations with them. We cannot sit here and just, keep letting them think that it's okay, to do this and do that, especially lay paws on a female just because. I mean, listen, I know some females out here get to the point where they're toxic and they make you want to put, paws on them. But come on, man. Some battles you got to teach your kids that, some battles are not meant to be won. I don't know. It's not looking good for DDG.
Other. It also probably doesn't help that Chloe dislikes DDG a lot. For example, when we find out about DDG had been texting his ex, Ruby Rose, behind Holly's back, Chloe threw some major shade at him, talking about how much she hates cheaters.
No matter how bad of a bitch you are, sometimes we'll cheat. What do you think? Is it immaturity? Is it scared?
Yeah, it's not a you thing. It's a them thing.
Oh, every time.
And like anytime I find out somebody cheats, I move on. And they don't believe me. I'll tell them in the beginning. I'm like, you know, we're imperfect humans, but you cheat on me, I'm out. And they don't believe me till their number's blocked.
It kind of seemed like she agreed with fans who believed that Holly needed to dump DDG because the disrespect was just so insane. In response to this, DDG went live with his friends where they made fun of Chloe, especially her album In Pieces, which only sold 10,000 copies in the first week and peaked at number 119 on the Billboard Hot 100.
What up? Is your girl's sister single?
What? Yo.
You think you could put me on?
You got the riz, man. You got the juice, man. You got the motion.
Yo, we see why he got so many insecurities, because he out here doing it. See, if you're not doing this, right? If you're not doing what you're claiming that your other half of doing, there shouldn't be no worries, no insecurities. But it seems like he's out here being a little hoe. Right? Because believe it or not, men could be hoes too. Shit, what y'all think? Only women are allowed to be hoes, or only women could be hoes? Like, I don't know what's up with some people, but shit, we got man hoes out here too. We need to get our shit together.
I don't know, X.
You think you could put me on?
You got the riz, man. You got the juice, man. You got the motion, bro. That's all on you. You don't need me.
But bro, you're in a different stratosphere than me.
You said what?
You're in a different stratosphere than me. Like, I need you to put me on.
Everybody knows Gideon is, man. Quit playing with yourself, man. You in the same stratosphere.
Stop gatekeeping.
I ain't gatekeeping nothing.
Like, her album flopped, so she's probably sad right now.
Ooh.
I just want to like.
He talking shit.
No, we all have flops out there. Like, I want to console her, you know?
Tripping.
That was super disrespectful to not only Chloe, but also Holly. And honestly, it's not surprising that Chloe doesn't really like him that much. And now that there's proof of DDG putting hands on her sister, it's bets off. Well, fans are now speculating that Chloe might be in on this whole revenge plan with Holly. In her filing, Holly made it clear that she had family who would watch Halo and support her during this tough time. Chloe is obviously number one on the list, given how close she is to Holly. And honestly, despite her sweet girl persona, everyone knows that she can be a little cray-cray. So DDG might want to sleep with one eye open because everyone knows that Chloe does not play about Holly or Halo. Word on the streets is that the DV was the last straw for Chloe, because word on the streets is that she is done with DDG's BS, and she is allegedly helping Holly prepare for a custody battle. Child, this is crazy, but do y'all think Chloe is doing the right thing here, or does she need to stay out of it and let Holly and DDG sort out their issues? Drop your thoughts in the comments and then check out this next video.
That is crazy. Super crazy, right? Like, let me see. Should social media platforms take more active roles in preventing the spread of misinformation and sensationalized narratives about abuse cases? And how does the legal system ensure fair treatment for both the accused and the victim in high-profile cases, right? And when it comes to social media, I mean, listen, everybody's going to have their opinion, right? That's not something that you can stop. Right? If a person feels this way about what's going on between them two, it's going to be like that. But the misinformation, yeah, that right there should stop, right? But you can't censor somebody for giving their opinion. But stopping the misinformation, of what's going on when it comes to this, yeah, that right there should be stopped. Not just this, but a lot of other shit out there, right? Because there's a lot of stuff out here that they're saying they're censoring, but they should be censoring other things. Give me 1 second, guys, while I'm trying to find this video that we going to react to about, is social media beneficial or harmful?
Religiously, understand the 7 principles of hell. You understand the 7 demons within you. You understand that whole concept. There's a whole metaphysical concept. We ain't go over that, but anyway, so
trying to find this video from a year ago. Hold on one second. Because we have some teens. Here we go. Teens open up about the impact of social media on their lives.
We're back with more of our special event, Kids in Crisis Screen Time. And it is time to hear from the kids themselves.
Yeah, how do they feel about their devices and the time they spend on them? NBC's Kate Snow.
And you know what's crazy, right? I told y'all that I personally, and it's the summertime, I personally was going to go around, right, with the family's permission, right, here and within my community. I was going to go around and I want to hear from the kids themselves, right, about what they think and how they feel about what's happening within our communities, right? So I can get a better understanding of what type of resources I could bring in to help those kids that want to get out of this toxic environment into a better environment. Like, the community center is a start, right? And I'm glad that the lady gave me a price. I'm see how I do this fundraiser this summer. I think I'm going to end up doing like 3 to 4 fundraisers, right, to try to see if I can raise up to $22,000, right, so that I can get the building off of her. And what's crazy is, right, it's going to cost me just as much or probably more to get the building fixed up and running, to do the things that I want to do, right? Get workshops in there, right? I know the government will help me with funds to try to fix it, and they will also help me with funds to try to get the programs running, right? But the majority of it is going to have to come from me. I'm going to have to put in that hard work if I want these things to actually happen. Oh, did I share it? Yep. All right. So we got kids, right, talking about the impact of social media in their lives.
I was here with that part of the story. Hi, Kate.
Hi, good morning. We're back with more of our special event, Kids in Crisis Screen Time. And it is time to hear from the kids themselves.
Yeah, how do they feel about their devices and the time they spend on them? NBC's Kate Snow is here with that part of the story. Hi, Kate.
Hi, good morning, guys. By the age of 15, 86% of kids have a smartphone, according to Common Sense Media. And the U.S. Surgeon General says 95% of teens, 13 to 17, are using social media. There are a lot of positives, right? Connecting with friends, for example, but there are also some very real risks. 21-year-old Sophie Chev clearly remembers the moment she joined social media. It was the day of her 10th birthday party.
I was someone that grew up pretty heavily bullied and someone that struggled to fit in socially. So when my peers told me that there was this app that they were downloading to stay connected to each other, to expand their social life, I thought that if I downloaded it, it would help me fit in too.
She downloaded Instagram and followed a few other students. But Sophie says when she turned to the Explore page, she saw content from accounts she didn't follow. And when she started clicking on posts about models and weight loss, she says it took a turn.
It went from swap out a candy bar for a carrot to this is how to hide your food, how to avoid eating completely.
Sophie says the content helped lead to her eating disorder. She was hospitalized 13 times, starting at the age of 15, when her doctor delivered this dire warning.
He looked me in the eyes and said, the insurance called and asked for your prognosis. And I had to tell them that
Planned Parenthood definitely saved my life.
Truly, if Planned Parenthood had not stepped in, I would not be here.
The care I got from Planned Parenthood was...
We're not doing that.
We're a lot of positives, right? Connecting with friends, for example, but there are also some very real risks.
And there's a lot of risks, right? And y'all heard just a little bit of what that teen had to say, right? How does social media shape teenagers' self-esteem and mental health? And what are the biggest benefits and drawbacks of growing up in a hyper-connected world, right? And like I told y'all, right, I went back towards my past. I grew up in a generation, right, where I call us hybrids. We did have the cell phones. We did have the laptops, right? We had computers, right? So Facebook was just coming out. Twitter was already out. No, Facebook wasn't coming out. It was MySpace. So let me correct myself. Facebook didn't even exist. It was MySpace that was just coming out, right? That was the era that I wasn't even drawn into it, right? When I created my social media accounts was because I wanted to follow a celebrity that I was into. Like, for example, when I first created my MySpace account was because I was a huge fan of Ivy Queen, right? The same reason I created the goddamn Twitter account, because I wanted to meet her when I was young. I was a fan. Like I sat here, I followed, I put the music. Like, listen, my page had nothing but Evie Queen pictures on it, pictures of me, pictures of my sons, and stuff like that, right? I still had my MySpace before, I had my MySpace all the way up into 2014. Lots of y'all not. No, I'm lying. Not 2014. Yeah, I'm telling the truth. It was up to 2014. I think in 2014, I started Facebook around there. If I'm not mistaken, 2013, 2012, around there. That's when I started Facebook and stuff like that, right? I already had a YouTube account. Shit, who didn't have a YouTube account? Like, sometimes we went to YouTube to research, right? Or listen to music. I didn't go to YouTube to listen to podcasts back then. My YouTube was one of my search engines, right? For me to sit here and research projects, right? Music, games. My baby pops used to go live. I listen. It was different for me back then, right? But I had, how can I say? I had hobbies, right? My world, my life didn't depend on social media. It didn't depend on MySpace. I loved going to Girl Scouts. I love sitting here, riding bikes, playing basketball and stuff like that, right? I was a little tomboy. I'm not gonna sit here and lie, but Girl Scouts was that shit. So it's kind of like, I had the opportunity and the chance to enjoy and experience the outside, but not just that. Back in the 90s and the early 2000s, we had different types of programs that kids can get involved, right? And they were actually fun. Like, I remember there was this one program we used to go to here in I think it was Allegheny and Fifth Street. It was like this little community center they had there, right? And it was after school. It was an after school program, right? And I know they had other workshops around there where one was karate, one was boxing. I think the other one was basketball, right? I tried each one out, but my favorite was going, coming home from school, right? Stopping there. I would get tutored and helped with my homework, right? Shit, fuck it, I needed help in math. Yes, I had a tutor. And then right after we got done the homework and all that stuff, we would say they had arcades, and then they would bring in pizza and stuff. Like, I loved being there. For me, that was the best club ever. Like, we chilled. We played arcades, we played games, and we ran out, we played basketball and stuff like that. So, those were one of the best, how can I say, one of the little best clubs that I joined after school. But now we don't have programs like back in the day. They're just bringing back the Girl Scouts within these past couple of years. They took all these programs out. They took a lot of stuff out. They took a lot of programs out within these schools. I remember we used to have, I don't know if they still have it in high school. I'm going to ask one of my young boys, right? Do they still teach you, in high school? Like, do they still prepare you for you to graduate and, like, get ready? Like, they had these classes, right, where they teach you how to, I'm going to call them med class, all right? Med class, like medical school, right? Where they would teach you about the human body, how to give shots, how to take blood, how to take somebody's pressure, how how to deal with the diabetes machine and check somebody's sugars, how to check a heartbeat, right? With your fingers and stuff like that through your They had them they had cooking classes, they had sewing in. They took a lot of classes, even though these are things that you should learn at home. But they had these programs that kept the kids occupied, entertained, right? And not bored from school. But now, shit. I don't know if y'all remember me saying, even during the pandemic, they had a point where schools were teaching TikTok classes. So what y'all gonna sit here and teach these kids how to do different dances and different challenges? Once again, where do these challenges start from? Is it an idea that pops off these kids' head? Or is it something that they've seen, heard, and now they're creating it themselves? Should there be stricter regulations on social media platforms to protect young users? And how does the pressure to create a perfect online image affect teenagers in real life interactions? All right, so we're going to hear a little bit from these kids, right? I'm going to give my commentary, and I would love to hear y'all comments, y'all perspectives, right? And what y'all think and how y'all feel down below. For anybody that catches the replay, for those of y'all that are in the chat, man. Like, and let's get the discussion started. This is gonna be the last video I'll play, right? And I might go live later on. Let's see. Or I might join somebody's live. Let's see what happens.
21-year-old Sophie Chev clearly remembers the moment she joined social media. It was the day of her 10th birthday party.
I was someone that grew up pretty heavily bullied and someone that struggled to fit in socially. So when my peers told me that there was this app that they were downloading to stay connected to each other, to expand their social life, I thought that if I downloaded it, it would help me fit in too.
She downloaded Instagram and followed a few other students. But Sophie says when she turned to the Explore page, she saw content from accounts she didn't follow. And when she started clicking on posts about models and weight loss, she says it took a turn.
It went from swap out a candy bar for a carrot to this is how to hide your food, how to avoid eating completely.
Sophie says the content helped lead to her eating disorder. She was hospitalized 13 times, starting at the age of 15, when her doctor delivered this dire warning.
He looked me in the eyes and said, the insurance called and asked for your prognosis. And I had to tell them that you are going to die in the next couple of weeks. Your heart, liver, kidneys, they're all failing.
Sophie made major changes in her life, and she's in a healthier place now, going to therapy and taking a 2-year break from social media.
All this because she was listening to some influencer online. And yes, listen, if you're not the first influencer in your child's life, if you don't find a way to draw your child's attention to the conversation that y'all need to have, guess what? Someone else is going to do it for you. All right. It's like that phrase, right? You know how they tell couples, right? Husbands and wives back in the days, right? If you don't take care of, how can I say in Spanish? It sounds better than English, but I'm going to try to translate it, right? In English, it goes like this, right? And no, in Spanish, it goes like this, my bad. El que tiene tienda que la tienda, right? So if you own a store, right, you're supposed to attend your store. If not, someone's going to come underneath you and they're going to snatch that bitch from you, right? So we got to pay attention to what's going on around our kids. And we need to have them tough conversations. We have to instill that in their minds, right? Because if you don't, someone's going to come around and try to do it.
Media. And her story is not unique. When asked about the impact of social media on their body image, 46% of teens 13 to 17 said that social media makes them feel worse. Back in May, the U.S. Surgeon General issued a warning, calling the youth mental health crisis the defining public health issue of our time.
We see rates of depression and anxiety and suicide and loneliness going up among young people. And I'm concerned that social media is an important driver of that.
The Surgeon General points to 2019 research finding teens who spend more than 3 hours a day on social media face double the risk for mental health issues like depression and anxiety. And a lot of American teens are spending more time than that. A poll this month found just over half of teens say they're spending at least 4 hours a day on social media apps.
Favorite app?
I'd probably say like TikTok.
TikTok.
Instagram.
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 The two apps.
Ah, we have a divide.
I sat down with 15-year-old Elizabeth Kreitzberg, 13-year-old Josiah McLean Long, 16-year-old Megan Finichel, and 17-year-old Eric Woodbury at their school outside New York City to learn about their own social media use.
Josiah, what does it look like when you start looking at TikTok?
When I'm looking at TikTok, like, it's just so many funny videos and I just keep scrolling.
I think like when I'm scrolling, I'm just forgetting and just avoiding everything else in my life.
I watch TikTok like to fall asleep.
These teens say they don't use filters to change their appearance when they post on social media, but they certainly see a lot of that.
What about your friends? Do your friends use filters?
I have one friend. She uses a filter on every single photo, every single video. I don't know what she looks like for real anymore. I haven't seen her in a long time.
How much of your mental health do you think is tied to using the phone or screens? Do you see a connection there or not?
Not so much now, but definitely like when I was younger, like 2 years ago, I was more impressionable to like what I'd see. And I was definitely more down on myself then.
What were you seeing?
People like with filters or like people with the unimaginable bodies that are all fake.
Perfect.
All fake and perfect. And it's like, why can't that be me,
All
you know?
fake and perfect.
Most of their parents follow them on social media.
My mom does send me a lot of TikToks. My dad, like, Insta Reels and stuff. Like, it's mostly, like, funny stuff.
They also tell me they've taken steps to have a healthier relationship with their phones. Megan says last school year, she would sneak her phone into her room at night. This year, her parents make her literally hand it over at 9:30.
My work wasn't getting done. I wasn't getting good sleep because I was scrolling. Because it seems like scrolling at night is the only free time we have. That's what it feels like anyway. But I guess
it's crazy because it's the same thing that I have to do with my 15-year-old son. Like, and for a minute he got mad at me, and this is where, you know, my support system had to kick in, right? Because, you know, I've talked about it online, shit. Like, listen, it went from the godmom right to my old head, right? My her daughter, which I call my little sister, right? And that's her, you know, that's my brother-in-law, shit. He had to jump in, and, you know, he took him in, and he's like, you know what, over here, you're not gonna do what you do to your mom. And he came back straight. So it is a, you know, I have a great support system to help me. And listen, I was a teenager at one point. I was a kid at one point. I know the faces that we go through. I'm a female. See where I'm coming from? So I know the boys' faces are going to be a little different. Phases are going to be different than the females, right? But, you know, it's easy when I go see my daughter go through a phase and I'm able to talk to her. So when it comes to my boys, I love the fact that the males that are around me are great male role models for them. Because if one can't step in at the moment, the other one steps in. And I appreciate for that. Because I'm telling you, man, like, it's one of these biggest issues, and I don't know what it is. Like, I grew up with, I didn't have a TV in my room. I didn't have a TV in my room until I turned like 12, 13 years old. You see where I'm coming from? Like, so these kids can't be without a laptop around them, a computer around them. They can't be without a phone next to them at all. At all. Like, even in the bathroom, they do TikToks. This is crazy.
now that they take my phone, I'm getting much better sleep.
As for Sophie, she's now a sophomore at Stanford and a mental health advocate, meeting with President Biden at the White House last year. And while she's back on social media, she says her relationship with it is different.
Social media now is a place of learning, but it is a place where I have to be able to make informed decisions in order to protect myself and to protect that 10-year-old Sophie every single day.
In the years since Sophie's experience, Instagram has made changes. Meta, Instagram, and Facebook's parent company tells us they don't allow anyone to encourage or promote eating disorders, and they remove content when they see it, whenever they become aware of it. NBC News also reached out to a lot of other social media companies about safety measures for teens. Snapchat, for example, has in-app parental tools. It's called the Family Center. It allows you to view your teens' friends and who they've messaged recently. You can restrict sensitive content. You can report any concerns that you have. TikTok told us they set a 1-hour daily screen time limit on teen accounts under 18, but the teens can enter a passcode to override that and continue watching.
Yep, they can. So now they got the options, to remind me to take a break and all that. TikTok has, worked around that stuff. I don't know if, the old CEO of TikTok is still the CEO after all this that happened. I know TikTok is around. I need to get on my TikTok and do some lives and actually work on that channel a little more. All right, I haven't been on it. I need to get my phone. But I need to start doing some TikTok lives too, right? And promote my business a little more. I haven't been on that joint for months, for real. Like, I've done reviews and reactions on it, on the videos from TikTok, but I haven't really been on my TikTok. So I need to get on my shit. See, I keep telling y'all, the way I grew up, right, it doesn't have me addicted to this. Like, we grew up a little different. Like, we had different things to do. A lot of these kids don't really have nothing to turn to out here, especially in the urban community, right? And then the clubs and little programs that they do have don't draw their attention. They all say the same thing. It's boring. There's nothing to do. Like, they might as well just come home and stare at four walls, because the coaches that they have, the instructors that they have, the teachers that they have don't know what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, aren't y'all supposed to be having fun in these little clubs and learning something? They like, yeah, right. So, I mean, shit, I guess it's the way we're presenting it to them. And that's why, I'm saying, like, a lot of people love my ideas. And if I had the funds, I would get it started, man. So stay tuned to a shorty, man. We definitely gonna be doing these fundraisers and stuff like that to raise the money, get this little community started. If this shit pops off, guess what? It won't just be in the Hunting Park area. It'll be in different parts of Philly, right? Different parts, different cities and different states. Because we're definitely going to do this. We're going to try to get these kids off these streets, right? And these kids off these social media platforms and doing something positive, productive. We're going to do it. I know there's people out there, oh, it's not possible. These little kids are demons. Guess what? It's possible. It's very possible if we do it the right way.
A lot of teens will tell you they know the passcode. But Kate, thank you very much. Let's keep the conversation going with a group of parents who definitely understand these struggles in this battle over smartphones.
And to answer their questions, Dr. R.G. Allen Wilson, a relationship therapist who helps families overcome mental health challenges, including the challenges of screen time. She's also the author of Courageous Conversations Connect. And Larissa May is a digital wellness activist and founder of Half the Story.
So, Larissa, what was your wake-up call? You're young. You're a part of this generation not too long ago. When did you realize this was a real problem? And what's your message to those out here listening today?
My wake-up call is when I almost ended my life. And when I went to the psych center, they asked me about all other forms of wellness, sexual wellness, physical wellness, but not digital wellness. And I was spending between 10 and 12 hours a day. My message and what I built was an organization to solve this problem. And we know that technology isn't going anywhere. So I believe we need to live in a world and give kids the tools to have active and healthy relationships to achieve digital flourishing.
RG, a lot of parents give their kids phones because they say, I want my kid to be safe. I want in case she needs me or he needs me, when really what we've seen throughout this hour is the boogeyman is actually inside the phone, not outside the phone. But if you are going to give your kid a phone, what are some things that you should do to make sure you do it properly?
Yeah, hold on. You got to remember the phone is a powerful tool that you're putting in the hands of your children. It's like putting a 2-year-old in the driver's seat and saying drive.
Yeah.
You're going to crash.
I like how she put that.
The children's brains aren't fully developed. The parents have to guide them just like anything else. So open conversation, not one or done. Having the conversation, what are you going to do with the phone? How are you going to manage the phone? If you're going to feel uncomfortable with the phone, here are the signs to look for. What are the danger signs? Those are important. And then also thinking about, all right, now that you have open communication, the protective factors, know the codes, know the accesses, know the social media platforms that those kids are on, and then make sure that you have access. Your parents are not your friends. Really, at the end of the day, you're the parent. Your job is to protect them. And so have that access.
Let's get some of that.
That's true. And you know what? Let me just correct her, right? Yeah, your parents are not your friends, right? But let me put it like this, right? As a parent, you got to be a parent first, right? And a friend second. And what I mean by, like, people get the concept of being a friend to your child wrong, right? We all need somebody, right? To, you know, have that shoulder to lean on, right? Somebody sometimes to let out what we got in our chest, right? So if you're not a friend to your child, right? You're not there giving them advice and stuff like that. Your child's not going to feel comfortable coming to you. But you can't be a friend to your child without being a parent first. Because you have to learn how to have that discipline, that, how can I say, that structure to be able to, you know, let your child know, look, listen, I'm still in charge. You see where I'm coming from? You know, you don't tell me what to do. You don't run me, right? And a lot of parents, like I said, get the concept wrong, and they sit here, they chill with their kids, like if they're chilling with their friends, right? And that's not the type of friend that you're supposed to be with your kids, right? And shout out to my grandfather, right? Because at the end of the day, him, 2 other elders sat here, had this conversation, right? Broke it down to me when I was younger, and I didn't get the message. I didn't understand the message until I got older. I really didn't.
The parents' questions. We've got Wanda Rodriguez. She's got a 12-year-old daughter. Hi, Wanda. What's your question?
So I seem to find that every time I ask my daughter to put her phone down, it turns into a fight. How can I get her to put her phone away without causing an argument?
This is such a big issue. I mean, parents say this is
real
like the only thing they're fighting about anymore.
Yeah. So Wanda and all you other parents, thank you for asking that question. You're not alone. This is a community conversation. This is not just an individual conversation. You guys got to talk to each other. What are you doing with each other? And for your daughter or for your sons, then find common ground. There's always going to be some common ground. Means keep that lines of communication open. The common ground might be, okay, we're going to stay on the phone less. We're going to use the phone at certain times. We're going to have tech-free zones.
Would that have worked for you, Larissa, when you were in those shoes?
I definitely needed boundaries.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to have them because my brain was still developing.
Yeah.
And she's not wrong, right? Because listen, it's the same tactic that I had to use with my boys in the beginning. It was a little hard, right? Listen, they temper tantrums, the talking back and all that, not wanting to listen. But then after a while, they seen it. Listen, I wasn't playing. I'm serious about what I'm saying. You see where I'm coming from? So it's like you have to put your foot down with your kids sometimes, whether they like it or not. They got two options: stay mad or get unmad. You're the parent at the end of the day. You're not one of them little, you're not one of their little friends outside in the street that's gonna sit here, joke around, and play around with them and challenge them to do some shit. Nah. You're the one, you listen, man, you're the lawmaker in the crib, man. For real, in the house, my bad.
Yeah. And the boundaries are going to lead to fight. I always think about this as a parent. It's like, boy, parenting is hard. Yeah. Letting it slide is so much easier. Sometimes you're just not in the mood to fight, so we give in, but
you can't give in.
Right. Can't give in.
Let's get to our next question. We have Diana Napier. She's got a teenager at home. She's got a question. Hi.
Hi. Good morning. How do you foster open communication with your children so they feel they can come and talk to you if they see something online that makes them feel jealous or scared?
Well, the reality is that tech is very emotional. There's so much fear. We're often pointing and yelling at our kids for being on their devices, but more often than not, like I did, I escaped through my screen to numb out. The best thing you can do as a parent is to be vulnerable yourself and to sit down and to hold your teenager because they need that more than they need finger pointing. And ask them, hey, social media has been making me feel really bad about my body. How does it feel about you? Lead with curiosity. Ask them not just the bad things, but also what really excites you about being in the digital world. Show me, because I have no idea what For You page is.
Yeah. So we want to play a clip. This is from Project Healthy Minds at an event. It's a nonprofit. And just last week,
they keep bringing up just the body. I mean, social media, right, doesn't just bring shame to people in their bodies, right? It brings a lot, right? And the mental, right? Like, how can I say it, right? It brings a shame to a lot of stuff, right? You got kids here with a lot of mental health conditions, right? Like Down syndrome, autism, and the majority of the kids that come online, right, that try to interact with, they go more towards the gaming channel, the music channels. But I've seen a lot of kids, right, and a lot of grown people, right, with autism trying to engage, right, in regular platforms. And they suffer the most because people don't understand, right, their condition, why they talk the way they talk or why they behave the way they behave. And they get bashed a lot. And I feel as though that people need to take the time and really listen and understand where they're coming from too, right? Because they're just like us. The only difference is, right, that they live in their own little world, but they really not no different from us. They're really not. So I mean, there's a lot of things, like people come on here, right? You have people talking about people, people families, people deceased one. Like somebody could have just recently lost somebody, and somebody's here just bashing their family. Like, damn, not knowing that this person just lost a person that they're bashing. So it's so many factors to this, right? And I know this because I listened to them. That's why I said, look, I didn't even know this video was out here until today, right? That I was searching and doing all this, right? Because of the videos that got sent to my DM. So I came on YouTube and I started searching, the harmful, the beneficial, and what are the beneficial and harmful sides of social media when it comes to our kids, right? And, I searched it up. This video is one of the videos that popped up. So, it's crazy that it's something that we're dealing with, right? I've heard a lot of parents within the community say, they regret giving their child the phone at the age of, 3, 4, and 5, because now their kids are teens, and, when they take their phones away, they end up with a house being destroyed, a child trying to put paws on them, and much more. So I feel as though that, yes, this technology, has a lot to do with the way that our kids are behaving, but we are the ones that put this technology into our kids' hands, right? So we have to sit here and deal with the responsibility, right? Deal with the actions behind. How can I deal with the consequences behind the actions that we did, right? Me personally, right? I did a video not so long ago. I'm not sure if I have it on here or if I have it on my shorts. If I don't, it's going to be uploaded soon. Trust me. I did a video, right? I'm gonna say it's like 2 years old, right? And I asked a lot of people, at what age do y'all believe that we should give a phone to our children, right? My daughter is 8 years old right now. Until this day, she doesn't have her own phone. I let her use my phone. She gets on my phone, and I constantly monitor what she watches, right? Because I learned from my other two sons, right? My first child, he's autistic, right? And I wish I would have known, but see, it wasn't me who put the technology in his hands, right? And it's not like I can sit here and say, hey, abracadabra, come up from the grave. We need to sit here and have a conversation. Like, you see what you did when you decided to put a console in front of my child at the age of 3, and you decided to sit here and put a game in his hands every time I went to work, and I would come back, and that's the only thing that would keep him calm, and it really is. Like, it's not like I can sit here and say, abracadabra, we need the conversation. Nah. So I had to figure this shit out on my own, right? Because, it's not something that I was against it. You see where I'm coming from? I felt as though no kid at the age of 3 should be in front of a damn video game just because, you can't calm them down. But, it is what it is. I can't do nothing but try to fix the mistake that was done, right? That was their time anyways. There was the father, son, and my baby pops. It was his life, right? He used to go to the expos, right? I think that's what they're called, right? The expos where they do the games, launches of games, premieres of games, and stuff like that. He used to make his money, right? That was his way of making money. He used to come home. He used to go live and play video games. He used to make an earning off of that, right? When he passed away, I deleted his YouTube channel. A lot of stuff I deleted, man, because it's like the memories. But he used to do a lot of stuff like that, right? But to me, I felt as though, like, damn, man, like, every time now that I need to calm my son down, the only way I could do it is by giving him the game or giving him a phone. So I feel as though, like, at 3, 4, 5 years old, he was young. He bought my son a cell phone at the age of 4 years old. My son had his own phone. I mean, he was a smart little kid. See where I'm coming from? He was already counting shit. I was shocked when a 5-year-old sat here and told me, Mom, the only way to make money, right, is if the only way to make money is is to have money. And I'm sitting here like, what? And now that, within the past couple of years, I own my own business, right? I sell T-shirts. I do a lot of stuff, right? So I'm sitting here, I was like, it is true. In order to start your own business, you have to have money. So in order to make money, you have to have money. That's crazy. You can't sit here and just let it come to you, right? It's not going to come to you. You have to make it, right, and invest it and turn it into something that's going to keep producing something back for you. Hey, but I could be wrong. But I'm only telling you my life experience. So, from my point of view, I'm not.
2 parents at an event. Carson was there. Tony and Brandy Roberts, their 14-year-old daughter, England, died by suicide. They learned she was depressed after opening up her phone and finding a locked note. Tony had a message he wanted to share. We thought we should share it with you. Take a listen.
One of the things I really want the world to know, please know your children's unlock code. We knew her unlock code. We knew her passwords. We knew everything, but I just didn't know how to navigate through these platforms.
I mean, that's it. Yeah. You can set all these rules. Yep. And if you don't understand how to use it, Larissa, I mean, it's like we keep saying it's not a fair fight. Yeah. What do you do?
Well, for parents, you have to make space. And I think we talk a lot about boundaries, but we also have to make this fun and bring play and creativity into this. So a lot of times we say, have a screen-free scavenger hunt, or do deep fake bingo, or you bring your family together to try to identify what's true and what's not. We also have to remember that parents are the models, just like any other substance. Mm-hmm. We look at our kids, how do we save them? But you have to save yourself first.
And you said, RG, at nighttime, lock the phone up. Yeah. I mean, Al Roker did that with his son. Yes. He took his kid's phone, he put it in a lockbox in a safe and said, see you in the morning. Yeah. And it may cause a huge to-do, but afterwards they've slept that night, they've woken up in the morning, and they can start again.
It's like tech-free zones.
But this only works if the parent is consistent. The parent has to be consistent with this method in order for it to work.
Tech-free zones create opportunity for talking. I like to say green time over screen time. Go out and talk. In the car, don't miss the opportunity to get off the screen and be the model for your children, because you're creating a different culture.
It's a wake-up call for all of us.
Grown-ups.
Believe me, my kids are the first ones to say, hey, Mom, you're on the screen. So guess what? We can all do better. RG and Larissa, thank you so much to all of our parents. Thank you. And you can find more answers on today.com, including the resources that Larissa talked about her nonprofit has to offer.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't miss the Today Show.
It's even that these are the issues that we're even though this video is a year old, right? These are the issues that we're constantly having, right? And trust me, upcoming videos, y'all going to see kids within my community here in Philadelphia, right, in the HP section, right, speak about their concerns, their worries, right? Because I'm going to sit here, we're going to ask these questions that need to be asked in order for us to understand what it is that we need within our community to help our kids prosper, right? And who better to hear it from than them themselves? This is what I've been talking about for the past 2 years, actually listening to the kids, right, to get a better understanding for us to know what our next steps are going to be, right? It's not just us saying, oh, this needs to be done. No, let's hear what they got to say too, right? Because at the end of the day, it's going to take, a combination of all of us, the parents, the kids, right? Aunties, uncles, grandmoms, friends, the community, neighbors, right? At one point, it used to be a village, but it's not no more. So it leads back to the question, is social media beneficial or harmful, right? What role do parents and educators play in helping teens navigate social media responsibility? And today, in this video, a few examples were given, right? But in order for these examples, right, to, be able to work, a parent has to be consistent with it. And in the beginning, it's not going to be easy. You just can't give up. If you give up, you're just quitting on everything. You can't sit here and complain years later, well, I should have did. Nah, you should have been consistent when you said you was going to do this, but you didn't, right? So how does excessive screen time impact academic performance and sleep patterns with our children? And I feel as though that it affects it a lot, because a lot of our kids are too busy scrolling on the phones at nighttime. And by the time it's time for them to go to school, do what they got to do, they're too tired. They don't want to. They're not motivated, right? And that's how it is. Can social media be a good force? Can social media be a force for good in teen activism and community building? And it can. Once again, like I was saying earlier, right? It's up to us, the content creators, right? The consumers, the viewers, right? It's up to us on if we want the majority of social media to be positive or we want it to be negative, because it's up to the content creator on what they upload, right? And how they're going to draw the consumers, the viewers, right? Their attention and keep them drawn, right? To, constantly have them sharing that positive message, right? Compared to, the people out here that are just on here to just, how can I say it? They call it clout chasing, right? Because I'm not going to say for clicks and views, because all of us make videos, we're expecting for people to click and view it, right? But some of us come on here, right? We want to do these little challenges, make a fool of ourselves, not care, at the moment what, is being said about us, and then worry about what's being said about us after the fact, right? There's a lot of people that come on here and they want to come up by disrespecting people and covering the fact that, covering it by saying, oh, I'm just roasting, I'm just joking, when it really isn't. But they get their coins. But them same people, the same way they go up, as fast as they go up, that's how fast they come down. So it's up to us. And what's crazy, right? The consumers and the viewers are the ones that are constantly asking for what they want. So if they constantly want drama and bullshit, that's what they're going to constantly get from a content creator. If they constantly want something positive, they want to learn, right? If they want to share messages and want something to be motivational, right? That's what they're going to get. But we live in an era, right, where, you know, people want to have the shows to be like Housewives of Atlanta, or how can I say, be like these little content creators that are making challenges. That's what draws people's attention. They say they don't out here in the real world, but when they're on social media, that's what they're giving the attention to. Hey, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong on what I'm saying, but that's what I'm perceiving. That's what I'm seeing, right? Leave your comments down below. Let me know what y'all think and how y'all see it. What changes y'all think we can make, right? And when it comes to this topic, the situation, we will do another open panel later on today. It's up to y'all if y'all want to come on. Like I told y'all, I'm going to constantly do it more often, right? So we're going to do this little segment called, you know, Writers for Life brings you the Let's Talk About It podcast. Let's talk about it. All right. With all that being said, man, I've been on this John 2 hours, 33 minutes talking by myself. All right. Hopefully, you know, the message is understood, right? And I will see y'all later on when I go live, right? I'm going to see who's live right now. But, you know, till next time, this y'all Shorty Rachel. I hope all of y'all have a blessed and humble morning. Continue to have a blessed and humble day. And like I said, man, for those of y'all that catch y'all the replay, leave y'all comments down below, right? Let us Shorty know what y'all think and how y'all feel about the things that was talked about today. And let's get the discussion started. So many things going on around the world that a lot of us barely know about. So many untold stories. It is time to break free from the chains of society and be who we are truly meant to be. For 2 to 3 hours, Writers for Life is going to start a segment called Let's Talk About It, y'all. And we're going to talk about it all. Do you really know what is going on around you? Do you know what's happening? Do you know how many of our kids are going missing? Do you know how many predators are out there? It is time to come together and talk about everything that's going on. Can we make a difference? Can we make a change? How can we do it if we cannot come together? If I knew then what I know now, sometimes I wonder, would I be the same or would I be different? A shorty still believes in fairy tales and imagination that lasts forever. Sometimes I wonder if I turn back the hands of times, fix my mistakes, will things change? Oh Lord, guide me through this journey of life, help me see the light through all the pain and strife. I wake up in the morning feeling lost and alone, wondering if life's worth living or if I should grab the throne. The weight of the world on my shoulders is hard to bear. I see no change, it's like nobody cares. I look in the mirror, see a stranger staring back, lost in the world that's spinning off track. I ask myself, is this all there is, or should I give up and let the darkness win? I see no change, just the same old game. Wake up in the morning, I ask myself, is life worth living, or should I blast myself? I see no change, just the same old pain, but I know deep down, I gotta break these chains. Sometimes I wonder if I turn back the hands of time, fix my mistakes, will things change? Oh Lord, guide me through this journey of life, help me see the light through all the pain and strife. If I can go back in time, tell my younger self it's gonna be fine. Embrace the challenges, let your light shine. You'll grow and learn, just give it time. Hey young me, listen up, don't be afraid. Life's a journey, mistakes will be made. Chase your dreams, don't let them fade. Believe in yourself, you'll make the grade. Don't stress about what others say. Stay true to yourself every day. Love deeply, laugh often. Don't delay, cause in the end, it's how you play. Be kind to others along the way. Spread love and positivity each day. Don't worry about what they may say, cause your uniqueness is here to stay. Sometimes I wonder if I turn back the hands of times, fix my mistakes, will things change? Oh Lord, guide me through this journey of life, help me see the light through all the pain and strife. If I can meet my younger self, I tell her not to be afraid, that courage will be her wealth and bravery will never fade. Don't fear the challenges ahead, for you'll face them head on. Your inner strength will dawn. You'll grow up to be a warrior, standing tall, unafraid and strong. A parent, a role model, and inspired, fighting for what's right all along. Sometimes I wonder if I turn back the hands of time, fix my mistakes, will things change? Oh Lord, guide me through this journey of life, help me see the light through all the pain and strife. Looking back on all the roads I've traveled, regrets and lessons learned along the way, but still holding on to hope and faith that with God's grace, a brighter day will come our way. I see no change at all. I'm stuck in this cycle, feeling so small. I ask myself, is
Is this all there is, or should I just end it all with a final kiss? I try to stay strong, but it's getting harder each day. The pain and the struggle won't seem to go away. I'm tired of the lies, tired of the deceit. I see no change, just defeat after defeat. I wake up in the morning feeling lost and alone, wondering if life's worth living or if I should grab the throne. The weight of the world on my shoulders is hard to bear. I see no change, it's like nobody cares. Deep down I know I must fight. I won't let the darkness consume me. I'll shine my light, I'll rise above the pain. I'll break free from these chains. I'll find my purpose and I'll make a change. Sometimes I wonder if I turn back the hands of times, fix my mistakes when things change. Oh Lord, guide me through this journey of life. Help me see the light through all the pain and strife. Sometimes in life we make so many mistakes, and we think that when we fall, we're not able to get up. We listen to those that, talk in our ear, tell us that they, are there for us. And at the end of the day, what's crazy? A friend ain't nothing but $1 in your pocket. Family is what you make of it. Family is not who you're born into. Alright? So we need to pick ourselves up and do what we gotta do. Life